even want me for myself in that moment. Because sometimes we think too highly of ourselves. I think I'm guilty of everything on this list. Wow, who doesn't do this? Who doesn't? Or who hasn't done it before? Do you know what I went through? Do you know how my childhood was like? I recently saw a video of a lady talking about personal red flags. It was very interesting to see the things she was talking about, and maybe I'll insert the account here so that maybe you can check her out on TikTok. But it was very interesting to look at ourselves in a different way, because most of the time what we've been seeing is people talking about relationship red flags, and mostly they're usually talking about the other person, like the things you're not likely to put up with the person you're trying to date or trying to get into a relationship with. And it reminded me of some time ago. I came back to the house crying. I was feeling so bad because I had just come from gaslighting someone, and I know it's it's kinda hard to admit it, but yes, I had just come from gaslighting someone, and I was feeling so bad for making them feel so bad about themselves. And I was also feeling bad because I was wondering, like, who am I? Why am I like this? At that moment, I was feeling like I wouldn't even want me for myself in that moment. Like, I had a moment where I felt like I stepped out of myself and looked at me in the situation, and I was like, I don't even think I would want me for myself in this state. And so when I watched that video of that lady who was talking about our personal red flags, I was like, yes, I think this is something we need to address even before you're looking at the red flags in the other person. I think it's always a good thing to look within and introspect and think about the things we are not at 100 yet, because sometimes we think too highly of ourselves. Like, in that moment for me, I was like, I thought I was a good person, and everybody feels like they're a good person at heart, but we are all flawed, and we have red flags. So today I wanted to share a few of some of the ones I could think about and some of the ones I came across. Number one is, if you have a problem apologizing, I think that is a red flag on your part, because before you get into a relationship, there is bound to be moments where you're going to be on different sides of things, where you're not going to agree on things, or when you're going to wrong the other person. So if it's hard to apologize, I think that's a red flag. That's something that everyone should work on, just even for life, to be able to apologize quickly and move on so that things are not dragging. Number two is going silent when you're upset instead of talking through things. And I am so guilty of this one. And I don't even know, because I was trying to think where this thing came from, because when I look back, I think it's something that started a very long time ago when I was still young. And I had the tendency to just, if someone wrongs me, I go silent, and it used to feel like it was so hard for words to come out of my mouth. Like, it felt like it took so much work to talk. And then the problem with that is that it's like you're carrying this whole burden with you the whole time, or it's like you're walking with a cloud above you this whole time, because you're angry, you're not talking through it, you're not letting things out. So yeah, that's another huge red flag. But I must admit that I have come a long way. Yeah, I'm not there yet, but I have definitely come a long way. The third one is gaslighting, and I'm just from telling you guys the story that reminded me and made me come on here and talk about this, because the way we think so highly of ourselves is crazy. We think we are good people at heart, but I think sometimes we're just inclined to the other side, but we try to think we are good people. But in that moment, I felt so bad for myself and for the other person. I was like, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like I was such a fraud that I don't ever want to do that again. I don't want ever to make someone else feel bad for something they did that was not even intentional on hurting me, just turning things on them, making them feel like what they did was wrong when in real sense it wasn't, and it was probably me on the wrong. I just that's a huge red flag. I don't want to be that person. I wouldn't want to be in that situation anymore. Then the other one is if you've not worked on your trauma. And I am also very much guilty of this. And with this one, I didn't even know I had trauma that I had not worked on. I had not read, there's this book, I am going to insert it here. Before I read this book, I did not understand being conscious and living in the unconscious state of your mind. So when I look back right now, I feel like I was living and I was justifying the things I was doing because, do you know what I went through? Do you know how my childhood was like? Do you know my situation growing up? And that's how I was living. I was like, yeah, that's why I am like this, and there's nothing I can do about it. And someone had to tell me that you cannot dwell on these things. These are things you need to work through and get over them, because all these kind of things can happen to anybody. So you can't say because you went through something now you treat people like this. So this book was very helpful, and I hope everyone gets to read it. It was very enlightening. The other red flag is difficulty with vulnerability. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm guilty of everything on this list. I think if you're not able to be vulnerable with the other person, especially in relationships, then I don't know, because when you're going through something, it's easier when it's shared and just to let loose and express your emotions to the other person. I think if there are a safe space, then it should get easier to be vulnerable. So I think when you've not gotten there, I think it's a red flag. Number 6 is criticizing or putting yourself down, or negative self-talk. Wow, who doesn't do this? Who doesn't, or who hasn't done it before? Sometimes you feel like you're not good enough, you don't deserve the things you have, or such kind of things you tell yourself, I can't do this, I can't do that. So for example, if something is wrong in the relationship, then will you say, I can't work on it, or what you such things? So also putting yourself down in negative talk, I think, because relationships get hard and you need to stay positive at least most of the time, because negativity is not going to get it anywhere. Then the last one is lack of boundaries. This I think is mostly in relation to other relationships that you've had. For example, if you're not able to set boundaries from an ex that keeps bugging you, then it interferes with what you're trying to build in the moment. Or it could be even boundaries from family members, from friends, and such kind of things. So I thought it was interesting to, come and talk about red flags, personal red flags, even before we get to the red flags that you're looking at in the other person that you're trying to get into a relationship with. I think this is also like a before step before you now start looking at the other person. So those are the few ones I was able to come up with. I hope you can list more down below in the comment section, and what do you think of personal red flags? Which red flags do you think you had and you've worked on them? You left that stuff behind you and you're doing your best right now. I would love to know. I would love to hear. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. So bye bye. Have a good one.